Hi folks, this is Mike. Here we are with our 2002 XC70 with 292,000 kilometres. Bad flaring, banging, some downshift banging, and some quite sort of intolerable banging from third gear to second gear. And unexplained flares and all sorts of problems. So we've had a go at rebuilding the valve body. We've just pulled it apart, cleaned it sort of thoroughly, put it all back together. We haven't really put it back together. We've disassembled and cleaned it with the great exploded diagrams from Transgo and the valve body gasket set they've provided from CT Powertrain. We've been able to piece our second one back together. We first did it on an S60 all-wheel drive, and here we are today on the XC. So this is just to help me along. I mean, I've got two projects on the boil. So this is a complete valve body off a 01XC, and I'm using it to sort of see which order the sandwiches go in. I guess what you could do is take some really good photos of the valve body prior to putting it back together and then just use those as a guide, but I just brought my complete valve body along just to see how things go back together. In this case, you can see that this is the bottom of the valve body, which contacts the internals of the gearbox. So I'm starting from this side. Under this plate, we've got a stainless steel plate sandwiched with two gaskets. We've got some accumulator checks, two accumulator checks. That's one there. That's another one there. And there's that TCC check valve, which is a spring-loaded. I don't know if you can see that. That's a spring-loaded valve. There's a spring in there. And this is the order of assembly. I'm going to try and do this with one hand. I don't know how we'll go. Of course, the tricky part is keeping your accumulated checks in there while you turn it upside down. So I can hear things rattling around in there. I just really should be using two hands. Let's see if we can set the camera up to capture this. Yeah. Sorry folks, everything's gone blurry. Okay. Let's see if that's in shot. It kind of is. Okay. So taking our last section, holding everything nice and firmly, popping it down. Okay, now we've got 3 retaining bolts. I think. Wow, which one do I use? One, two, three, four, five. I've got 5. Okay, so I've got groups of bolts here, are grouped together in groups of. I've got groups of bolts here in order of disassembly, but I haven't actually grouped them together in sequence. So this is where things get a bit tricky, and I'm going to have to really tricky. Nope. Okay. That didn't work. and we've got spillage. We didn't clean our didn't clean it out properly. There's still some fluid getting out, and we've stained our gasket, and we're just going to stop and clean that up. Okay, a little bit of research done from our original our spare valve body. We've worked out which groups of bolts go down through the valve body. Let's try and set up this camera again. Something like that. Let's hope we're catching everything. Okay. And here we go. So we're going to pop this down. And our bolts are not going to capture any thread. They're just going to sit, they're just going to pass through, because they need to sit into the plate, the next plate, which is not yet present. So they're just inserting, hello, 1, 2, 3. Alright, okay, so they're going to go down into the next section of valve body, which is, let's see, which is actually a large plate. We're going to pass through this large plate like so. So, okay, what I've managed to do is put that down on top. Just comparing. Yep, looks good. Yep, looks good. Now this is going to sit, as you can see, it sits down on top of that plate. I think I've got the gasket orientated the right way. Yes, I have. Let's just check that that is the case. Yes, okay. We've got a little bit of gasket missing there, and you can see on this side it's got the missing gasket, whereas the gasket on the other side of that is complete and it fills that hole. So far so good. What this bolt, and try and get that in shot, this bolt is going to end up in that hole. Let's give it a try. I think I can do this without turning things upside down. Yep. So we're just matching holes, and sitting things on top. The bolts will naturally find their way down once we lift this all up. So now it's time for me to lift this up and at the same time keep pressure to avoid the accumulator checks coming out. Okay, through. Okay, I'm just checking through, not through. Possibly we just need to, there we are, now that one's through. Now the weight of the valve, the weight of that section should keep it all together. And it might be an idea to pop something plastic under it just to stop the bolt holes. So this is what we've got. We've got the bolts coming through, 5 of them. I'm just going to pop it on top of something plastic so as the bolts, this is a scraper. Okay, next section is this. Now we can make a bit of room. The next section is naturally this one. Now, I've put a bit of tape here because there's a there she is. Okay, I can put that back in later. That's just a piston, like a check, a piston check, and we'll put that in later. Just checking against our diagram. Okay, looking good so far. Now we are checking for how many accumulator checks. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 of them. And there's another right there. Then, okay, it says here, early type valve bodies use check valve here, later type valve bodies use ball here. Well, in our case, this is an early one. This is an A series. So we've got a check in that position. Okay. And then we've got 2 cooler bypass and a TCC check, which are in place and have their springs. This unit's been cleaned. And we might run a rag over it one more time with a bit of, I'm using shellite, which is, let's see what it is. It's a petroleum distillate, and it is a 100% hydrocarbon liquid. It dries very dry. It is perhaps not as corrosive as acetone, but I like it, and it keeps things really clean. Dries very fast, leaves very little residue. As I said, probably not as dry, not as dry as acetone, but for me, I've been using this stuff for years on other equipment, and it's fine as far as I'm concerned. But you know, you might want to use something like acetone. Just depends on how much you want to fry your fingers. I don't like the feeling of acetone on my fingers. It really dries the skin out. I guess gloves would help. But in this case, no, we're just going to stick with this. Now, if in case there's any lint in my rag, I'm trying to blow out as much as I can. If I had a nozzle on my compressor, I'd be using a nozzle on my compressor. Okay, this is where we get to use the threads that are protruding from this unit, and they're finally going to find their home. Okay, so we're just sandwiching it down. We've checked all the check balls. Okay, little bolts have found their way. Okay. You want to get this done up pretty quickly. I'm doing this by hand. You may want to use something powered. 1, 2. I'm not going to use a lot of torque. In fact, it's going to be only tight enough to stop pieces falling out. I may want to come back and realign the gaskets as I go. Okay. Okay, sorry if I'm out of shot. Okay, that's pretty good. Our next section, I come over here. Our next section is really the last part of the valve body. Now we're going to check this. Okay, according to this, we've got, okay, I'll just turn it around, do some rearranging. Okay, so it's pointing at one of those there, which we have. This is what's called I think they call it an accumulator check. Just move things over a bit so we can see what we're doing. Okay, ball or check valve located here. In this case, because it's an early valve body, we've got a, sorry, I've just found one of my dog's hairs in the valve body. Thank you, Isabella. You're a trusty and loyal friend, but you shed like a ripper. Now, okay, so that's that one, which is in that place. We've got 1, 2, what's called, I would call piston checks, which are in place. 1, 2. We've also got here, matching here. That's a spring-loaded piston. We've had that out and cleaned it. This is a 2 check valves. Okay, 1. Whoops. See what happens. You're not careful. Now, I need something magnetic, or I need to tip this upside down, and I haven't got my tool case open. Here we go. Okay, back in you go. I just put the spring back in. I just lost a spring. Awfully hard when you're working on a very small table. This is quite a small table. So 1 there, 1 there. Okay. Late type VBs use 2 check valves with springs as shown. Okay. So are we complete? How many different items do we need to check for? 1, 2. We got a piston check. Oh, I'll call it a piston check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items, which I should be able to visually recognise. Just count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's 9. Let's locate 9 items. Ball, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Piston check, 6. Piston check, 7. Piston check, 8. Piston check, 9. Okay. We're looking for 9 items. We have located 9 items. It's time now to keep going. So we're going to get this and place it on top. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Okay. Okie dokie. This is where we have to use our gasket on top of this unit with the 9 items inside it. So let's prepare our gasket. Here it is. So we're just going to No, I don't like the look of that. I thought I had these matched. Let's have a look. Okay, first gasket. First gasket is the same as that sweet baby there. Yep. Okay, let's just compare them. Yep. Okay. So we've placed it on top of that. Okay, next comes our plate. Now this plate's been cleaned. Let's compare the plate. Yep, you can see the plate is in that orientation. It's going to sit on top of this. Have we lost anything? Let's pray we haven't. Last gasket sits up on top. Let's compare the last gasket to the one on the right. Yeah, it looks good. Let's get a bit more detail. Yeah, it looks good. I've definitely... hang on. Whoa. Have I chosen the wrong gasket? Yep. Okay. Pays to double check. I've chosen the wrong gasket. Let me go into my stock. Let's see if we can identify this one. Okay, that's looking... And you know what? I thought I double checked this. You can see how easy it is to make a mistake. Okay. As you can see, the gasket there on the right of the diagram is closer in appearance to this one. We're just going to do a visual compare. Yep. Yep, looking good. Looking good. Detail is so important, you know what would be really nice? If you get yourself a photocopier and blow these up to like size. So you work out that, say for instance, perhaps it's 1, 2. I reckon it'd be about 350% on a photocopier. So if you zoomed up 350%, took a photo of that and cut it out with a pair of scissors, and then at least you would have a like for like perhaps next time. Okay. So over we go. Now what I'm going to try and do is put something to keep this level. I'm going to place something under it. We want it, yeah, see, that's what you don't want. I'm trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time. It's tough work. Okay, let's try. Pop this blade holder under here. This is awful photography for the you home viewers. I'm sorry, I don't have anyone to film this. And okay, we're matched again. I don't think we've lost anything. We've got a little check ball there. Everything looks good. Let's put our metallic plate back on. I think ASN used stainless steel for their plates. And the last plate, no, that first plate there, that one there, I had to put it in boiling water to soften the gasket enough to remove it. Just a hint for you home users, I'll tell you, I really panicked. I went to an engine builder and I said, how do I get this gasket off, this metal plate? He said, you can't. I said, you sure? Yeah. He says, yeah, I'll send mine away when it happens. here's an engine builder. He sends his, heads away when his gaskets get stuck. He hasn't, got anything to do it. And I said, well, what do I do? He says, you can't, maybe you should get that plate remade again. Get it laser etched and cut. I'm thinking hundreds of dollars of expense. Anyway, finally, I had the sense not to listen to him. I went into a transmission place. I said, what do you do with gaskets that are totally fused to plates? And they said, we'll put it through our washer, like a dishwasher. So we did that. And it lifted enough for me to start work on it. And then I thought, well, I'll just get one of my mother-in-law's pots and pop it in for 20 minutes at boiling temperature and see what happens. And sure enough, it started lifting. I still had to do some work on it with a very good straight blade. But as soon as that was done, it was pretty much a success. Okay, now we've got this together, but you remember, now it's safe for me to turn this upside down, okay, and then I can count if anything's missing from this side. Now remember, we had a piston check that fell out that was taped. This is where it goes. Now I'll just turn that unit upside down, which is all that. I'll turn it upside down and we're going to do a component check. So, a component check. There are no components in this. I've taken them all out and they're all sitting over here. So, what goes where? Good question. Okay, we've got small accumulator checks happening. Now I know the locations of these, so I'm just going to pop them in. Let's have a look at that. And that one goes there. I hope I'm right. We're going to just double check that. Yep. Okay. Accumulator checks. Here and here. You know, I would really benefit from blowing this up to a larger size next time round. And that's what I'm going to do. How many piston checks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Somebody's not counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we've got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we've got 7. Good. Two accumulator checks fitted, and we've got 3. Three more accumulator. I don't know what they're called. They're little filters. The way they're orientated is, it looks like they've got a small suction cup on their bottom, and this is the side that goes down into the valve body. So here we've got this one, and it lands pretty much flush with the surface. If you're not sure about which one goes in, it's the one that lands flush with the surface. Okay, one here and one here. There's another one. It's a large one, and it goes here. Okay, let's count them. 2 accumulator checks. 1, 2. Check their locations. Yes, that one matches that one, and that one matches that one. That one. that one. No, this is no good because I need a pointer really. So that one and that one matches that one and that one. That one and that one matches that one and that one. We've done all our piston checks. Okay, looking good. So now okay, you can see this angle here, see this line? Okay, it matches I hope I'm right. Let's check our valve body over here. I'm cheating. You shouldn't have to. Okay. Now what we should be able to do is compress that with both our hands. I'm going to hold the camera in over here. I might clean my hands a little bit. I don't know if this is in shot. Now I have to do this with two hands. I need to compress the plate and compress the gasket so we don't lose any components. This is a little bit tricky and I'm going to have to keep going whether this is in shot or not and just make them up. I'm going to pop some screws down. I don't know which one's which. I'm thinking about 10 to 12 mil of thread is what is our correct bolt. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. That may be it. Now I am going to compare these with our valve body later on. I'm not going to take any chances. No. Possibly. I'm just guessing. No. Yep. Okay, I'm going to pick the camera back up. I'm trying to work out which bolts go where. Not enough thread. Not enough thread. Really hard to say where anything goes here. This is very topsy-turvy. So I'm going to cheat. Oops. For the benefit of all you watching at home, now what I'm doing is just doing these up because I'm going to turn this other used valve body upside down so we can work out which bolts go where on the other side. I am fortunate that I have two valve bodies. Let's start with this one. Okay, which is the right length? Okay. Okay. That one there. Do you put the right one in? Nope. We made a mistake. Different length. It's that one. So I'm going to pull all the other ones out. We're going to match these bolt by bolt. That's probably the only one that's right. I'll leave that one for now. I'm going to take them all out. Do I have one in? No, I don't. So I'm going to tighten the correct one. We're going to remove. Oh, I'm going to remove this. Edge come. Got to remove this. Edge come. We're going to place this one back. Okay. So we haven't misplaced this one. That one is the bracket. Oh, yeah, that's going to go in there. Actually, that has no purpose other than to hold one of the solenoids in place. So we're not going to bother with that. Let's work here on the corner. Does our diagram help us here with bolt lengths? Are they published? No. You know what? It would be wise upon disassembly to publish all bolt lengths in their locations. I wish these instructions had them. They don't. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to do this the hard way. We've got two bolts holding the whole thing together. There's one. There's two. Okay. Now. That's torqued up. Okay, so that location there, I hope you can see it. Let's work out which length is correct. Okay, so what it appears is it's about 10 mil of grab for the thread. Is it that one? Yes, it is. Okay, I'll leave it poking out. I've just matched it, and there's our location. 3 down. I don't know how many to go, but 3 down. Anyway, let's keep moving. Well, let's see where there's another bolt. There's another bolt here under that solenoid. So no, that doesn't look like enough thread grab to me. That looks more like it. I'm going to go with a process of elimination now. It appears as though we want about 10 mil of thread grab. Yeah, okay, and again, looks more like about 12 mil of thread grab. Another one. Yep, looks like about 12 mil of thread grab. Which one have I left out? I've left out that one there in the corner, that one right there. And you know what? There she is. And again, we've got about 10 to 12 mil of thread grab. Looking good. Okay. Yeah, alright. So, how many bolts hold the whole thing together? Let's do a check. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't see that one, it's a bit dark. 7, right under the solenoid. And the solenoids themselves have very long bolts. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. That's all looking good. I'm just going to put some more torque on these. You can see why, I can understand why nobody's really ever done a valve body assembly procedure and posted it up on YouTube. It's not a pretty thing to have to do. Okay. Okay. Right, now, just spinning things around, and I can see there's mismatch between the ports. Like serious mismatch, not just a bit. There's not a moment's peace here. Yep, sort of. I'm taking a video. It's okay. Alright, now how are we going to match these ports? So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this, this, and this. We're going to loosen just enough so things slide around. We're going to loosen the ones we just placed, we just torqued up. This is really important because if our gasket doesn't match the plate underneath, we're going to be in trouble. Okay, so now after loosening, what would be great is to put something quite conical, not comical, conical, something with a tapered edge through these holes. If I had a socket small enough, yeah, no I don't, yeah, that's, if I had a socket small enough to pass through each of these holes and kind of center things up, it'd be great. Let's have a look if I have got something. Okay, 5mm. No. 1/32. No, too big. Too big. Okay, I'm going to do this the hard way. We're going to get a Posi Drive 2 screwdriver, and we're just going to try and centre up the plates and gaskets as much as we can. It's amazing how much movement you'll get out of this. Now I can, just looking at down through the holes, it's looking much better. I'm going to torque up these as much as I can. 2 of them, still looking pretty good. 5. Yep. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Oh, it's looking much better. I don't have that mismatch situation. It's looking good. Okay. What about these? What about this gasket? And these ports? Same deal. So your top plate to your next plate, there's some mismatching there. So I'm going to pass the screwdriver down. So this is the front of the valve body. Just going to try and centre as much as we can. Okay. Now these are the bolts that actually locate the valve body onto the gearbox. So we've got, there's not that many, there's about 5 that go around. Okay, there ain't that many, and they're long. Okay, and the other reason too is you don't want to, here are the bolts that go through, you don't want to try, you know, get your valve body up to your gearbox and then find that they won't pass through. You know, we have to centre up these gaskets. It's really essential. Okay. Looking good. I'm just going to torque her up. How many were there? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's try and put some of these mounting bolts through. Doesn't really matter in which order. Let's make sure they all pass through. Yep. And very positively they all go in. No problem. Okay. That's our temperature check or thermostat bolt. You see they're all going in nicely. We've lined things up. So we're at the point now. Sorry if I'm going out of shot. We're at the point now where we can start to torque up the valve body. Now I'm gonna pause it. Sorry, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to torque up all the bolts that press the valve body together, and I'll return. Okay, hi folks, I'm back. I just torqued up all the bolts. The gaskets seem to be really nice and true and centered. Next step now is I've brought over the solenoids, and the solenoids also form part of the sort of tension between the sections of the gearbox. So we'll start with let's see, start with which guy first? Which guy? We're going to start with this guy. We're going to start with this is S4. course they've been cleaned, and this is where S4 goes. There is a rubber O-ring on the end of each solenoid. Make sure they're clear of any debris before reassembling. It's okay to put a bit of light transmission fluid on the O-ring just to help with reassembly. Okay, now I know this one's S4 because it was the topic of a bit of conversation regarding whether it was faulty or not. S4 has a unusual action in that it is hydraulically returned home. All the other solenoids are spring returned. So let's do this little guy here. Okay, you're in place. Okay, why is my thread catching? No, that's okay. I thought my gasket was not lined up properly, but it appears okay. Okay, next. Okay, I'm going to be your eyes and ears, so when you're putting this together, you just have to follow my lead. No, I can't match them. I'm trying to match. I've got one in my hand here. I'm trying to match. Okay. Nope. I'm choosing wrong location. Yes, it's here. Okay, sorry. Here we are. Third one. Now in place. Just had to be pushed home a little bit more. Okay, there's one here that drops right down into the unit. This is a very long bolt, and it is, which one? It's light grey. What is going on here? I can't find it. Or can I? Okay, must be this one. Yeah, just so I didn't confuse myself, I didn't separate the solenoids from their original mounting bolts. I kept them all together, so it really does make things a lot easier. Try to keep your solenoid mounting bolts together with your solenoids. When it's time to reassemble, things go down a lot easier. Now, I'll try and get a close-up of this so you can see the solenoid locations. Okay, top corner. Starting at 12 o'clock. We're approaching sunset here in Melbourne, so that's got a black plastic connector. Next one at about 2 o'clock has got a, I would say, a bluish coloured connector. That one there. Next one around at about 5 o'clock. It has a grey connector. Next one around, and as you can see, they've all got unique brackets, so there's really no confusion. Take photos, absolutely take photos. That one's going there. at 7 o'clock with a green connector, and this one at, it would be 9 o'clock, has got, that's another grey. So we've got two greys, but very unique brackets. And no two brackets are alike. Now I need to torque these up. I'm going to pause and come back. And that, folks, is a valve body reassembly without the SLT, SLU and SLS solenoids. Or have I missed something? I hope not. We've got 3 bolts left over there. Okay. That ain't that one. I missed it. Okay. There's another one here. Yes, mate.
I need to move.
Mate, right now I'm just recording a video, so I've got to finish what I'm doing.
Please.
A little bit later, mate. I won't be long.
Oh, can I have a screwdriver?
No, not right now, mate. No.
Why?
I need my screwdrivers right now. So I got one long.
No, this is a little one.
I'm taking a video, mate. Can you not take a screwdriver, please?
Why? I only need one.
No. That's not the right screwdriver for you.
Triangle one.
Oh man. Okay.
No, where's the triangle?
I got one in place. Okay.
You don't have any
Okay. Now. Okay, I know where my bolts go. I've missed these 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I also missed a very long one, which was longer than the other 3, that went down in there. Now, I'm going to pause and talk. Okay, now, this one's a little bit longer, but just keep in mind, we're keeping our consistent about 10 to 12 mil. I would say it's about 10 to 12 mil of thread grab. Okay, so the one on the left here is a little bit longer, and then we've got 2. Remember, keep your bolts in groups. I did that and we managed okay. I think even if I'd thrown them in a big pile, just keep in mind your 10 to 12 mil of thread grab, and you should be okay. Every single one of these valve body bolts had, I'll just try and get that in shot. That's how much thread grab. Can I run a vernier on that? Let's see. I think I don't have it here. Do I have a ruler? Yes, I do. Let's see. Yeah, look, that's actually looks like 9.5 mil. So that's what our thread grab is. Consistently through the whole valve body, we got a 9.5 mil thread grab. Yes, mate. Yes, mate.
I tried to spend 10 watts.
Did you?
And then need.
Okay, so yeah, I've put the whole valve body back together. As you can see, it's all torqued up. I'll just have a look at that last location. I don't know if I torqued. Yeah, I think I torqued it up. Yep, sure did. Okay, So it's complete. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on the SLT, SLS and SLU refurbishment because it's just so drawn out and complex, but or maybe it's more like a case of common sense, because the instructions say here you grind off the edge. Yeah, I ground off the edge. I had a lot of trouble getting the cap off. So what I did is I cut a small section off the end of the cap with a like a Dremel tool, and that helped me get a jeweler's screwdriver in there and enough room to grab the end of the plate, end of the cap, and pry it off. So I hope that helps. Pretty much once you get these apart, there's two different pin tool dimensions. One is a just going wow. Okay, mark the shaft. So one pin tool dimension is 0.156 to 0.157 shaft. Use long drill. They provide 2 drills in the kit. Okay, one's short, one's long, so that's pretty much self-explanatory. And the 0.154 to 0.155 shaft use short drill to resize the bushing. So basically, once we get the cap off, we slide out the pin tool or the armature. There's a brass washer sitting in there. We make sure we clean it all out. I use carby cleaner on these, and then you put your correct drill inside. You turn the drill counterclockwise while you're turning the drill, so you don't take any material off the bushings. It's very important. And then take any material off your drill with a rag, with a clean rag, obviously a lint-free rag. Spray them clean. Okay, they're using brake clean and air while pushing the armature in and out 10 to 20 times. That's a great suggestion. It frees things up. And when you're finished, the armature must fall out. It must be free enough to fall out easily. So that's pretty simple. And then they supply, once you've got things, they supply 3 caps. You put some Loctite on the end of the caps. You can put these in a vise. I haven't got the solenoids here. I didn't put them in a vise because I didn't want to put the whole assembly under pressure, so I just tapped gently around each one till it met its home, and you can kind of tell when it's home, when it feels quite solid when you're hitting, and a little bit of Loctite on the inside, and you're done. You put them back in the same order, you remove them, same location. This little baby is going to go here. This actually helps locate the gearbox, that gets bolted to the, so that goes all the way through. You can see that the 2 bolts coming through from that assembly. That actually helps locate the whole valve body onto the gearbox. And then you got various different sized bolts. Again, you know, your short ones, you've got 2 shorts. Okay, just try and put this together for you. You got a short there, a short there. Now this one I kept together because it's for the temperature sensor, which goes in there. Okay, I hope you can see that. Let's see, these are all, oh, One's a little bit longer than the others. Let's have a look. Oh, we got 2 like-sized and 2 long-sized. Which one's which? Again, you're looking for the same amount of thread grab. There's only 4 bolts. There's only 4 bolts to arrange here. So let's just have a look. That looks like about, just so we get this. Let's see how much protrusion we have from the threads. No, it's not equal. Okay, so that one's wrong. Nope. That one looks okay, but the other one, we don't have enough thread protrusion there. And we're just going to swap things around until they work. Nope. I don't like it. So I'm going to use the longest one here. Now what do we got? That's too long. We'll get there eventually. Oh. What have I screwed up now? Too short. Is this how it's supposed to be? Yeah, you got one longer than the other. Doesn't look right. We've got to work this out before we put it all back together, and we will do that. We'll got to, maybe I'll get my makes me wonder. Oh, okay, we're looking much better now. Thread grab looks about equal on all 4. It's kind of, there's a bit of a guessing game. I think the last time I did the valve body, I laid them out in the exact order of removal, so I hope I got this right. In any case, I got about 10 mil, looks like about 11 mil. Looks like about 10 mil and looks like about 11 mil. I'm going to keep on rearranging until it looks a little bit better, but you get my drift. So I'm finally concluding the video. Thanks for listening, and I hope this is helping some of you people who are thinking about pulling apart your valve body and putting it back together with a Transgo shift kit. There's been a couple of replacement valves. I'm just going to locate them, show you what we've replaced. Okay, this is also part of the kit. one goes inside there. To access these, I can't remember exactly which plates I removed, but I think one of them was down under that plate and another one was down in that plate, that steel plate there. So here's our two replacements, and they're supposed to improve the performance of the shifting. It's interesting because the replacements are made of steel and these are aluminium. I hope that the wear characteristics of this type of steel they're using is compatible with the aluminium bores in the valve body. I hope it's not a short-term fix and then have the steel pistons abrading the aluminium bores. Let's just hope that's not the case. But anyway, thanks for listening, and this is the refurbishment of an A-series valve body for a Volvo AW55-50SN, and thank you for listening. Cheers.